Good evening, StreamYard and YouTube fans. This is Philip Reynolds. I have to apologize. I did not know that my headphones were not uh, in properly. And when that does happen, uh, there is no sound. The other thing that can happen is my headphone selector can be in the mute position like this. So those are the two things I have to worry about when I do my broadcasts. Um, First off, what I wanted to do is I wanted to do some housekeeping, and I wanted to tell you after 2 weeks who's on the injury list for my 2014 league. We have I think it's Steve Kerr from Arizona. He's out 5 games. Marin from Buffalo is out 4 games. Pettit from St. Louis is out 4 games. Ray with Chicago is out 4 games. Cook with Arizona is out 4 games. LaRusso is out 3 games. Barnhill is with St. Louis is out 3 games. Lucas, and that's Jerry Lucas with Cincinnati's out 3 games. You have Chamberlain with San Francisco out 2. Lowry with Loyola out 2. McAdoo with Buffalo out 2. With Boston, you've got Sanders. He's out 2. And Johnson with Baltimore's out 2. And Ellis with LA is out 2. Also, there are 4 teams that maxed out, that are already maxed out, meaning they have 2 players on their injury reserve, and that's Buffalo, St. Louis, Arizona, and LA. Those 4 teams have 2 players on their injured reserve, and that's the max. Also, what I'm going to do is for injuries from now on, I'm going to, instead of using a 6-sided dice, I'm going to use a 10-sided dice. What that means is when you roll a 0, when you get the card that says this player's out for the rest of the half, then that's exactly what happens. That player is out for the half, and they're able to come in the second half. Also, with regards to rolling the dice and the injury, and that's the fact that if it's the last play of the game, I mean, not the last play of the game, if it's the last play of the first half, they're out the half, because it's not fair that you turn over that card and it says player comes back in the second half. Well, it's not right. That player sits out the second half, and then if they roll to 0, then they can come back the next game. Also, if the player gets a out for half and it's the third or fourth quarter, and they roll a 1, not only are they out that game, not only are they out that third or fourth quarter, but it's only fair to make them sit out the next game as well, which means that if you roll a 1 in that situation or instance, not only are they out that game, but they're out the next game as well. I just think it's only fair that way. Um, I'm still working on and tweaking my Blam league. I've decided, first of all, that the North and East should be in the Brave division, and the Midwest and the West should be in the Rebel division. It's opposite of what I've got here on this sheet. I have also decided to allocate 2 all-time greatest players to each team, which means that I still have to allocate an all-time greatest player for each team. Also, the all-time greatest players can only sub in the 4 and 5 spot. And the reason I'm doing that is because with injuries, that first, second, and third position sub can, and it's happened once, where they can be a dominant factor. And I'm afraid that with an all-time greatest player at that first, second, or third spot, they're going to be so over-dominating that it'll skew the scoring grid charts. And I don't want that. And I'm going to run down the I'm going to run down the 24-team league standings as they are currently after 2 weeks. In the Blue Demon division, Duke is up 2-0. Philadelphia, Seattle, St. Louis, UNLV are in a 4-way tie at 1-1. Detroit is in last place in the Blue Demon division at 0-2. In the Wildcat division, UK is in first. And then you have a 4-way tie for second. Baltimore, Atlanta, Cleveland, and Illinois are 1-1. And San Francisco is 0-2. In the Gator division, you have a 3-way tie for first. You have Cincinnati, Loyola, Chicago, and then Florida is 1-1, and Houston and LA are both 0-2. And in the last division, in the Buffalo division, you have Arizona, Boston, Portland, Buffalo, and Arkansas all, 5 teams tied at 1-1 after two weeks. And then New York is in last place in that particular division. Sorry about that. And I was going to, with this Blam division, it'll probably be a mixture of fantasy players, college players, and pro teams. The Buffalo Braves will be a pro team. New England will be either Boston from 64, 65, or 73, 74. Baltimore will be a pro team. The Philadelphia Freedom will be a pro team. Kentucky will be the college team. Chicago is going to be a pro team. Cincinnati will be from the 64, 65 set. Louisville will be a conglomeration of college teams and fantasy teams. Nashville will be idea of fantasy teams. Carolina will be fantasy teams. Pittsburgh will be fantasy teams. Florida will be the college set, except for you'll have 2 all-time greatest players, and Billy Donovan will not be the coach. It will be a all-time greatest coach. And then in the West, San Antonio will be a fantasy created team. The Louisiana Cajuns will be a fantasy created team. LA will be either the 64 or the 73. And the Santa Fe Roadrunners will also be a mostly a fantasy team. And like I said, each of these teams will have 2 all-time greatest players, and they're going to be relegated to the 4 and 5 slot in people's schedule or lineups, I should say, and lineups for subs in that. And there will be injuries. If it's a 0, they're only out that half or quarter, unless it's the last play of the half or like the last play of the game, or if it's in the third or fourth quarter. Because if it's in the third or fourth quarter, then they'll sit out that half, and then they'll be out the next game. If it's like the last play of the game and it's the fourth quarter, I mean, they'll have to sit out, that game, and then like the first half of the second game type thing. But that's all I really wanted to come on and tell you. As soon as I can, I'm not sure if I'm going to have the draft live or not, but I've already separated the cards into like positions, center, guard, forward type thing, and that like the dot, the hollow dot, and the no dot. Each team's going to have some dots, some no dots, and some hollow dots. It's only fair. And once I've got the teams created, of course, we'll start playing that. And you guys all have a happy Friday. I hope you enjoy this. If you do, please subscribe, turn on subscriptions, turn on notifications. If you have any questions, put them in the comments, and you all have a good night.